That Ruddy Guy.
That Ruddy Guy.
That Ruddy Guy podcast with Lyman Rate.
Hello and welcome back to That Ruddy Guy podcast. I am your host, Lyman Rate, and today we are going to get into a topic that I personally enjoy, and it will be a 6-part episode series, and that is character building. The key to character building is very simple. Create someone that is fictitious for a book, a comic strip, or something else, and make them as realistic as possible. This 6-part episode series will be split up into the following different episodes. This first one will give a general understanding of what a character building is and things to consider. Then the second episode will dive deeper into the understanding of how to make them real. Then the third episode in this series will be things to avoid when building your character. Now on to the backstretch. The fourth episode of this series will be about character emotions and feelings, and the fifth episode will be about the rise and fall of a character arc, and the final episode of this series will be the conclusion and how it all works together. Now, jumping right off in this episode, when you are creating your story, you will have characters that will be the primary focus and take center stage, so to speak. From humans, human-like creatures to animals, and unless this book is educational, your book will have characters of some kind. It is how you create these characters, their actions, reactions, how they handle themselves in varying situations, their emotions and feelings. All of these things must be considered. Your reader will expect to connect in some way to their characters, and it is your job and responsibility as the writer and author of that character to get them connected to the reader. Now, character building is something that people will argue and say is very simple. I have to disagree because people are not simple people. We are very complex with our feelings and emotions, just to name two things. Add in world dynamics and things happening with us and around us, then we can be very complex and be so very quickly. When you create your characters, you need to think of a few different things: gender, age, maturity, cognitive ability, reasoning skills, and world skills. When it comes to gender, some might disagree with me regarding gender. However, this can play an important factor in how the character does certain things. By making a decision and sticking with it, your character will be who they are based off that gender. I'm not saying that a girl can't be a boy or a boy act out like or be a girl. I'm simply saying that whatever gender you give your character, make sure you portray your character according to the world you created in, such as the last series, which was all about world building. Touching now on age, the age can play a bigger role than gender because depending on the age, that can also determine the ability of your character has in decision making, maturity level, as well as cognitive ability and reasoning, and their skill sets within the world you built. A character that is 6 years old will have a vastly different maturity level, decision-making ability, cognitive ability, reasoning ability, and skill set than a character that is in their 20s or even 30s and 40s. Even so, a character that is in their 20s would be vastly different than a person, say, in their 50s or 60s. Your character must also be relatable in their age to the type of world and time period you are setting. In the medieval times, people did not live long, so having someone who is in their 50s, sometimes maybe in the 40s, was considered old. If they lived longer than that, it was very rare. However, if your world and time periods are more recent, the older age is higher and easier to accept as a reader. It would be hard to accept as a reader that in medieval times a person lived to be 100 years old. That wasn't something feasible or realistic, so why would it be the same when you're writing? The truth is, it shouldn't. You want your characters to be as realistic as you can make them. It makes them more relatable and easier to understand. With cognitive ability and reasoning, age and maturity come into play here as well as with the skills. You cannot expect a child to have the same cognitive ability and reasoning skills as good as an adult. Unless the child is a prodigy, a chosen one, or something else, this just isn't a feasible thing to do. A child's ability to process things is generally slower than of an adult. This includes their ability to react to things, talk about things, understand and comprehend things, and to do things. You are the creator of the character and need to keep in mind not only their physical age, but their mental, cognitive, and reasoning abilities. Now, the ability for your characters to speak can also be a factor, but again, plays into the maturity and age. Children do not typically have a large vocabulary or know as many words as most adults, so this must be kept in mind. Similarly, time period also plays into how they speak. Keep this in mind when you create your characters. This doesn't mean that everyone must speak according to their age. Some are not educated, some have disabilities, and some are better equipped speaking-wise. Your character should be as unique as you are in the world you live in. No two people are the same. Even identical twins are not identical in every aspect of everything they are. Don't fall into the trap of making everyone the same, think the same, act the same, speak the same, walk the same, and talk the same. It's boring. But unless they are meant to be robotic and mimic each other, that's fine. Outside of that, it's just boring. Skills is another that plays off of age, maturity, and ability. When you give someone skills of any kind, ensure that whatever you do fits within who they are. Yes, children are capable of many things, such as doing hard labor, helping with caring for loved ones, and many other tasks. But only have them do this if that is what fits who they are and why you have them there. Don't just have them there to do something to have them do something. It doesn't make sense, and it can easily stand out as odd or unusual. I have a character that is a farmer and a trader, as he is willing to make things to trade, but he also trades food and other goods. His son is a blacksmith and a bladesmith, and together they are able to make ends meet with their skills. While they both can do the farming, blacksmithing, and bladesmithing, they are better skilled in one of them and the other in the other. Dad is skilled in farming, son, blacksmithing, and bladesmithing. Your characters, when building them, will have or need skills to make them useful or meaningful in the story and world you create. Those are the main things you need to think of when you're looking to creating your main characters, or really any characters who have a purpose in your story. From gender, age, maturity level, cognitive ability, reasoning skills, and world skills, all of these should have some place within the person or persons or things that you have decided to make as your main character or characters. Even Thomas, the engine, has a purpose, a maturity level, cognitive ability, reasoning skills, and a world skill. If a train can have those things, your characters can do too. And that's everything I have for this episode, and I thank you for joining me today. If you enjoyed my podcast or any of my podcast episodes, I do want to thank you for listening. Look forward to seeing you next time when we go into episode 2 of this character building series. And until then, keep the words flowing, the ideas going, and happy writing.